I wanted to welcome you on Sports Talk 1996 with me, Zach Barnett, and get it all rolling with how did you get involved with football as a kid, man?
Well, it's when you're young and didn't want to go to school, what do? You go play sports, right? I actually started football in fifth grade. I think it was fifth or sixth grade because my dad was the coach. He really wanted me to play football. Personally, myself, I was more interested at that age to be a basketball player and a rodeo star. I used to ride in rodeos. I rode bulls. I ended up, I would rope calves, and that was my passion. So football was kind of like something I did in the fall, just because I wanted to do something during school. Plus, it was what everyone else was doing.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
So, in the football realm, who did you look up to and who did you model your game after?
I would say the guy that I had the most admiration for was a guy by the name of Walt Garrison. You probably never even heard of him. He played for the Dallas Cowboys. He actually was a rodeo guy and a football player both. Um, I was at the rodeo in Bozeman, Montana, where Walt came down on a steer and it flipped over on him, and he ended up getting hurt, and it ended his football career. So he was someone that I looked up to as a young guy. Obviously, I loved Roger Staubach, and some of those older guys.
Definitely, man. So, scrolling it forward for you personally, Glenn, how did Wisconsin prepare your journey to the next level, aka the NFL?
Well, I had an interesting journey at Wisconsin. There's my head coach, Dave McLean, was a phenomenal guy. He was a big time influence to me, and he had an assistant coach by the name of Ron McBride, who ended up being the head coach at Utah for many years. Ron McBride was a very intense coach. He pushed us harder than anyone I've ever had. In all the years I played football, Ron pushed me harder than any of them. He was very, very passionate and made me do things way beyond what I thought I could do. It was amazing how he would be in your ear, harping at you, and technique wise, everything that he taught me those 3 years that I was with him. Actually, it was 2 years I was with him, I think. Yeah, or no, it was 3 years. 3 years is him being my coach was just spectacular. I mean, I learned everything that I needed to know to go on to the next level from him. And then I had two other coaches at Wisconsin that weren't quite the same caliber, which probably had a little bit to do with me dropping off a little bit on the draft. But yeah, no, they just Wisconsin loved offensive linemen, and Ron McBride was the guy that really I looked up to and followed.
Heck yeah, man. So, Glenn, that first like couple snaps in the NFL, what was those feelings like for you personally?
Um, well, I remember my offensive line coach, Paul Boudreau. He told me, he said, when you get to this level, you got to understand you're playing against way smarter guys than you've ever played with. And he goes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, Ricky Jackson is going to figure out what the play is based on your stance. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to change it up, or I'm going to fix it, or whatever, to try not to have that happen. Sure enough, Ricky was able to call out the plays based on me and another guy's stance that we were, he could tell what we were going to do. And that just kind of made me realize how incredibly intelligent a lot of these guys are, and how the game was way more advanced from college to the NFL because of those kinds of things. It's a different game. The amount of time that these guys spend in the classroom studying, it's night and day compared to college.
Definitely, man. A lot of those guys are playing checkers, and the ones that are great, they're playing chess.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I like that. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, life after football for you, Glenn, how have you applied the trials and tribulations of the game to your personal life?
For me, the game, it's going to go back again to like Dave McClain, Jim Mora. Let's see, a guy by the name of Gary Kane, which was my eighth grade basketball coach. These guys would say statements that at the time I thought were kind of, like mundane, or like you hear them over and over and over again. And you think, this is just applies to sports. And then when you start to become an adult and you start going through life's tribulations, you start to realize some of these sayings would come back in my head. And, like I'll give you a couple of examples. Gary Kane, an eighth grade coach, he said to us, he said, guys, I will take full responsibility for every one of our losses, and I will give you 100% credit for every one of the wins. However, with that said, I want you to understand, I like to win. He said, so I'm going to make sure that we don't lose, because I don't want that on my shoulders. And so anytime we would have a loss, he would take full responsibility, but he would say this, this, and this are the things that were done wrong. And he would say, I'm going to make sure we fix those so it doesn't happen again. And we didn't lose very often because he would work our ass off in practice on whatever we weren't doing right, which I really admired that as a coach and an adult, knowing that, you have to work at these things to get better. Dave McClain, the favorite one of his that he said to me he said, or to us, is guys, you cannot stay on a flat line. You either are going to go down or you're going to go up. So on a regular basis going through life, and he would say, men, life is a lot like football. You either get better or you get worse, because you can never stay the same. So every day you get up, you have to make a decision. Am I going to get better today, or am I going to get worse because I'm not staying the same? So in football, I would think every day getting up, what am I going to improve on today? Is it a little 6-inch step, or some hand placement, or, know the plays better? And then in life, it's the same thing. You get up every morning, you say, okay, what am I going to do today to get better? Am I going to put positive messages into my head, or am I going to treat someone better? Or am I going to go to work and work harder and make it a better environment to be in? And that lesson kind of did it for me. And then with Jim Mora, when we got to the NFL, the thing that I loved about him is it didn't matter if you were Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling, Bobby Hebert, Dalton Hilliard. It didn't matter if you were one of those guys or if you were one of me. He treated everyone exactly the same. And everyone had the same expectations. When you came to work, you knew exactly where you stood. You knew how hard you had to work. You knew exactly what the plays were that you had to work on. And it didn't matter whether you were a superstar or just an average player. And that really impressed me a lot, because when I go to work today, my employees, I put them on an equal level as me. I'm no better than they are. They're no better than I am. We're both the same, working hard to try and get through life. And it keeps you humble, and I think that was where his message to me was great.
Definitely, man. So, Glenn, my next two questions are brought to you by B&D Sports Media and its current NFL topics, man. How will the Packers look to adjust their offense without Davante Adams?
Oh, that's well, if you listen to Aaron Rodgers, he's going to say that he's got other players that are going to be able to step up, and he's going to help to get in that same level. Personally,
it's hard to fill that void.
The last few years,
it's hard to fill that void.
I'm going to say personally, after watching the last few years of Davante, you don't replace a guy like that. I just think, I like what Brett Favre said. He took the top 4 receivers that he would love to throw to, and they're heads and tails above everyone else. And we'll see. I can't really say right now, but to me, it's like, I don't think they're going to be replacing him. And we'll see if these other guys can step up, and we'll see if Aaron's as good as he says he is. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Is they lost a great one. I was shocked when they let him go.
Definitely, me too. Hey, with the receivers that they're right now, they had like a players meeting just recently, and Aaron dropped by and talked to him also.
I didn't hear about that. Yeah, what did he have to say?
I wasn't in the room, so Like,
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, it's going to be an interesting year. I mean, I'm, it's amazing to me today because I played so many years ago that you got quarterbacks that are in their 40s still playing. You know, they're able to get through and not get beat up with these new rules. Which is a good thing. But again, how does a 40-something-year-old get his game to that level? To where you can do really well. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Tom Brady was, he obviously was in my opinion, the best ever. And he was able to keep his game up there. So we'll see what Aaron does. I think the offense is all going to revolve around what he does. Can he make these other players good or great, or can't he?
yeah, man. So the next one's about your Saints.
Yeah.
Will 2022 be a prove it year for Jameis Winston?
Well, it's going to be a prove it year for him. It's also going to be a prove it year for the head coach. I mean, Sean Payton had such a thing going, a good thing going. I mean, I loved the way he coached. His teams always seemed prepared and ready to go. So, we'll see. It really is going to come down to, we'll see on a lot of these teams because of free agency. You don't know what the teams really are going to gel like chemistry wise. And, they got every team out there's got new players in key positions. We'll see. Do they get along with the other guys? Do they listen to the coach? Can the coach bring them all together as one group? We'll see.
I think for Winston, I think Michael Thomas coming back is going to be pivotal. And Chris Olave.
Yes.
The receiver they drafted from Ohio State.
Yes.
Their offense is going to be legit.
You would think so, right? Getting that kind of talent in there, you would think so. But again, chemistry. I mean, when you're at that level, what are the practices like? Are the players focused on getting on the same page with each other, or are they more focused on themselves? I see it even today. And I coach high school. I've coached college. I've watched the game, been in the game. It really comes down to chemistry, and are the players and the coaches all focused on the same thing? Which is to be a team and to work together as a team. I see a lot of individual, guys that are all about I, me, my, and they aren't into, what's the team doing. It's more about what am I doing? What's in it for me? And in my opinion, I don't see that as, the winning
culture, to be honest.
Yeah, the winning culture. Thank you. Yeah, you get, and that's one of the things that I really did like about like a Brady or a Peyton Manning or some of those guys. They were really able to take average players and get them to become great because they put them in a system and they taught them how to get open in the right places. And you had the O-line that knew exactly where that quarterback was going to be, so they could do their protection in order for that to happen. Or, you get a running back like, Jonathan Taylor or one of these guys, you knew how to get that where he was going to be so that you would be in the right spot. So everyone looked good,
Definitely. It's those players buying into the principle of teamwork.
Absolutely.
Without that, you're pretty much
it's a crapshoot. You'll win some. Yeah, you'll win some games, but you're going to lose some games that you shouldn't have lost. And that's where you see the good teams that get everything together and they're all on the same page. Is they may lose a couple, but they're going to win away a lot more, and they'll build up to, when it gets to the playoff time, where they're actually able to take on teams that may be more talented or, better that way. But because they've got that chemistry going, they're going to beat them.
Definitely, man. Well, Glenn, we'll end this interview on this. Where can my audience find you on social media?
Yeah, you can go to my Facebook page. It's open to invitation. I'm also on Instagram. It's GDERBY79. And I've got my Coach Glenn page on Facebook. I'm on there as well. Haven't really been too busy on LinkedIn right now, but we're going to be getting there. There's a lot of things social media wise that I'm just now learning about. And so, TikTok, all those things, I'll be on there. Just look for Glenn Derby or G Derby 79.